with Alan, my personal roller shot guru, and Alan is going to tell us all about the couple different types of rollers and the ways to throw them. Alan, take it away.
All right, so essentially there's two different kinds of rollers. One roller tends to be more flippy. It turns up on its own. So when you throw this kind of roller, you throw it with less angle. This one is more straight up and down, so you want to get it down quickly on the angle you want, and then it will go longer, but you have to get it down more quickly.
And certain types of discs lend themselves much better to the two different types of roller shots, right?
Right.
So give us an example.
So this is actually an old school disc based on a Stingray called a DGA number 2 driver, but essentially it's a disc that will get up and generate its own spin. It's
understable, right?
It's understable. Okay.
Okay.
So if both discs you want to throw above the waistline on an upper plane, but this one you want to throw with slight stuff and let its own natural tendency to be unstable and stand up happen. You have to generate a lot of spin for it to land on the ground and then flip up. And this one's more designed to go a certain distance and actually come over to the right.
So if you're right-handed,
yeah,
that one's going to finish right.
Right.
Okay.
This one, on the other hand, again, a heavier disc will be more reliable, kind of more on the stiff side. An edge that is thin but has a little bit of a rounded edge tends to be better. So you just have to find a disc that's like that. If it's too thin, it will flip too quickly. So this one, we want it to resist flipping, get it on the angle we want with the spin and the speed matching where it lands, so we can hold that line. And then at the end, it will flip over or just die.
So that's a much more stable disc, right?
Much more stable disc.
So you're having to force it to roll,
right,
as opposed to the understable orange one in your hand, which wants to roll. It just needs the slightest encouragement, right?
Basically speaking, yeah. And if we were to throw these just like a regular disc, this one would be stable and come over. This one would turn over.
Okay, all right.
Be understable.
So why don't you show us the two different techniques you'd be using?
Again, on this one, we're thinking of a windshield wiper. You got to experiment with your disc. This one tends to be fairly flippy, so I'm just going to go at an angle like this, and I have to throw it firm enough. I'm picking my point where I want to land it, and I'm going to want it to stand up and go for a ways and then come back
So
over.
that's important. You're actually, as opposed to picking a spot on the horizon that you're aiming for, you pick a spot on the grass, in this case, on the ground.
Right.
And that's key to your rolling technique,
That's
right?
If you're ever going to be able to use it effectively, you have to know where it's going to land and what it's going to do. So experimenting on a field is a great place to go. So I don't know if the viewers can see, but there's a kind of a slightly more dried out patch over there. I'll try to land it on that, and we'll see what happens. Okay. And there is a little bit of a wind wanting to just push it over.
You know what, though? That's a good illustration of the extreme of that type of disc.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that, and also the ground's a little softer here, so it absorbed some of the landing, and so the disc didn't fight its way up as quickly. Now you have to take in mind, when you're throwing in the air, you're taking into account the wind direction and how strong the wind is. On the rollers, you have to take into account the shape of the land, how soft it is, if it's sloped up or sloped down.
Now this next type of shot is the real reason I call you my roller guru, because I'm not nearly as good at this, and if you watch on the film here, you'll see that Alan is really going to arc his back a lot more, and that it's not just about throwing the disc at a certain angle. He keeps his entire body bent at an angle that accommodates that, and you'll notice that he really tries to get this disc down very, very quickly.
Very quickly, right. And the key again is to pick a spot, and at least pick it in your mind's eye, because you're going to be over here, but I'm going to pick a spot. It's going to be much closer to me, and here we go.
Now hopefully,
it's still going.
Hopefully you were able to see that that's still rolling. It's rolling nice and straight.
went very long, much longer than any other disc, probably more than I could throw in the air there. And that's
Okay.
the other thing to take into account with the rollers, that you can often dodge obstacles and go longer if you want to get that. And with this quick acting roller, sometimes there's trees in the way and it lets you go under these trees to your
Okay.
destination.
Any final thoughts on?
I think this is great that we're out in the field. I think this is where you can always experiment on your tee and whatever, but I think you definitely want to get out in the field and experiment, see how hard you have to throw it, what angles, because they're all different, and they will even change over time.
Okay.
All right.
And to add a little credibility to the mix, you're a past California state champion, are you not?
Well, in 1994, the Fault Line was the California Championship, and I happened to win that.
And what course was that on?
De La Viega, which is right up on the hill from here.
Right up there, right over those trees. Thanks a lot, Alan. Appreciate it.